PhD Journey Unplugged podcast. On this podcast, Dr. Gordon and Dr. Ward draw on their experiences from their PhD journeys to explore health, wellness, and human performance. After completing our doctorates in leadership with a focus on health and human performance, we both realized how many valuable lessons we learned on the journey towards that finish line. After we graduated, we also discovered that there were few spaces for new doctoral graduates to share their research or discuss their experiences on mental, physical, or social emotional level. So we decided to leverage our experiences, knowledge, and academic training to start this podcast, share our voices on topics related to wellness, healthy aging, and purposeful living, and strive to help others achieve their goals with good health. Dr. Sarah Gordon has a background in psychology. Her research interests focus on exercise motivation with older adult athletes. Dr. Gordon is a freelance writer for Outside Interactive, writing for Triathlete magazine, as well as a published poet, photographer, and multi-sport enthusiast. She is returning to school to study neuroscience through the University of Pennsylvania online certification program. Dr. Marilyn Ward is the founder and owner of No Excuses LLC, a leading health and wellness coaching company. She has over 25 years of combined experience in wellness, leadership, and motivational coaching, including 6 years of dedicated service in the United States Air Force. She brings her expertise and discipline to her mission. Dr. Ward's research focuses on enhancing the quality of life and increasing longevity in aging adults. We are both passionate advocates for helping others thrive towards better health and value connecting deeply with our audiences. We strive to empower individuals to take charge of their health, make lasting changes, and transform their lives from the inside out. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our podcast. All information and opinions expressed in this podcast are for general purposes only and should not be taken as professional advice.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the PhD Journey Unplugged. I'm Dr. Sarah Gordon, and this is my colleague, Dr. Marilyn Ward.
Hello.
And we are entering into our 17th episode, and we are doing everything differently today because today is a very important and special day. It is Marilyn's birthday,
Hey!
and it's her 50th birthday.
50th.
So I reached out to her and I said, you know what, Marilyn, we were going to talk about the research process today and whatnot, which we will do in a future episode. But I thought, let's just do something different. And yesterday I had this conversation with this really nice friend who's listened to our podcast a bit. And she was giving me some feedback, and she's turning 50 in a few months herself. And I said, why don't we just talk about what it feels like to turn 50? Because
Oh,
I know you've talked a little bit about it leading up to this day.
yeah,
And she's like,
yes.
I would love to listen to an episode on that. And I thought, it is an important and significant milestone. I went through it 8 years ago, but my 60's coming up. But I thought, and like I said to you, let's just talk about it. I'm going to interview you today, and I'm going to ask you
Yay.
some questions. You look amazing.
Oh, thanks. I feel I'm exhausted. It's been quite a weekend, so
Well,
it's
just tell us how are you feeling today, and our listeners were also happy for you for your birthday, and just you're an incredible person. So you deserve
oh,
all the happiness and
I
joy.
seeing the love over the weekend, I did feel so special. I felt so loved and everything. And so my girlfriend is very good at surprises and surprising me and keeping things a secret. And my daughter, which gave her anxiety trying to keep the secret. But it just started off on Thursday, or the whole week leading up to it, I guess. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm turning 50. I was sad, like my sister is gone and she couldn't, be here. And then it just felt like everything was falling. Like I talked to my son and he couldn't make it. My best friend, she couldn't make it.
Oh
And
no.
my daughter on Thursday, she says, well, Mom, I can't get your birthday off. She goes, I got to work. So would you like to go out for lunch this afternoon? And I was like, you know what? I jump. Anytime my kids ask me to do anything with them, I jumped to the chance. I was like, absolutely, I would love to. And I didn't want to share my disappointment. because I'm trying to stay grateful. I'm
Right.
turning 50. I'm still trying to be, keep my head up high. And then, so in the midst of lunch, in comes walks my son, and I lost it. I cried.
Now, does he
And then,
live close to you?
no, he lives 7.5 hours away in Pensacola.
That's amazing.
So he was, and oh, the whole time before this, I thought I was going on a birthday trip this week. Like I was supposed to be a surprise trip, couldn't know what clothes to pack. So in my head, that's all I knew. And I just talked to my son, and he said he couldn't make it. He was on his way to go lunch at his job. So he walks in. Then right behind him, my mom walks in. And then my aunt from
Uh,
Michigan, they're both from Michigan.
So
She,
they traveled like, did they
yeah,
fly
far.
down there?
They had to fly. And Robin flew them all in, paid for their plane tickets, flew them all in.
Amazing.
I thought that was enough for me. I thought, I was like, this is amazing. We go out to dinner the next night. My older brother surprises me. He comes in, and then the next day, last night, a huge, huge surprise birthday party. All my family, friends, my run friends, my old work friends, like my old CEO and my old supervisor.
That's
Yeah. Oh wait,
amazing.
yeah, I was not supposed to say old. I'm supposed to say former because he's younger than me. Um, so it went from like so sad and disappointed, but still trying to be grateful, to just overwhelmed with love, just with
Well,
love and joy and
it's so beautiful. And I mean, major kudos to Robin. She put so much heart and love into
yes,
organizing all that for you. So that's incredible. Now, since it's a podcast and we're always trying to talk about lessons learned, there's a
yeah,
lesson there, right? About patience.
yes.
Now, we
Well,
don't always necessarily know, right? In our
we
mind,
don't.
we start going down one kind of road and you just don't know.
Right. I
It's the
just didn't
beauty of
know. And
it.
so I was, and I'm like, well, maybe it's because I didn't pout, and maybe
No,
because I was
right?
grateful. And I know I've been sharing on my social media platform about 50s, turning 50s, and what
Right,
are the things that we wanted to accomplish by
right.
the time we hit 50. And for me,
Hmm.
it was the doctorate. I was
Hmm.
like, I said way back when I was, getting my master's, I said, as long as I can get my PhD by the time I'm 50. And boy, oh boy, did I just barely cut it.
Let me ask you this, because like I said, I had this great conversation with Michelle yesterday, a friend of mine at the lake. And what is it about turning 50? Why? What is it? What do you feel
Right.
it's going to change? Why can't you be just as active, just as, everything? Like,
Right.
what's in the number? What do you
I
think?
don't know. So my aunt she's so funny. She's got quite a sense of humor. So first she says 40 is the old age of youth and 50 is the youth of old age.
Well, I like that
Yeah.
actually. I get
Yeah.
that. Is
And then
that
I got all these candles.
wait, what does
Smells
that
like your 40s are over.
say?
And then happy birthday and loving memory of your 40s. But then it said 50 is the new 30. So I don't know. There's something, I think it has something to do with I'm halfway to 100, right?
Yeah.
It's that. And I'm one of those, I believe I'm going to live till be at least 100, if not more. Like I just have it in my head. That's what I'm going for. I like to shoot far. Um, so to me, it's like it's that halfway point. And
Yeah, and I also
oh,
think it's a realization, especially for women, we have changes going on in our
oh,
body that we have
yes.
to deal with, even being incredibly physically active,
Yeah.
trying to age with good health. We still have things that we have to deal with
Right.
as get to 50 through our 50s.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like those realizations but
Yeah.
look at you. Okay. You got your PhD by
Oh,
50.
yes.
You look amazing. We're
Thank
thinking
you.
about doing a big athletic goal next year.
Woo.
Um, and so I guess the point is that it's hard because it's a number,
Yeah. But it's
but
not over yet. It's not it,
yeah,
right?
no way, no way. And it's just all it comes back to mindset, how you embrace
Right.
this. But But back to why do you think? Because I think this was a really, I remember my 50th, I literally just slid by. It's like,
Yeah.
this
It's
one really got you though.
This really got me. I think when I was turning 40, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm 40. And then I'm like, 40s was easy. I look back at like, I was looking back over the years and I'm probably going to make a post about it and share. Like, I did a lot of stuff in my 40s.
Yeah.
or actually my 30s and 40s, skydiving and learning to surf and zip lining. I did all these crazy things. And I've always been pretty energetic, and I've never really been shy of like agility and doing things. But I'll say on Monday, started the week, I went, because it was a holiday, right? It was Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
I went hiking with a friend of mine, one of my runner girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's younger than me, almost by 20 years. I think she's in her 30s, early 30s or late 20s, and me 50. And it was swampy. We were trying to get back to this like bridge or like a sky bridge, and you walk over it, and she's like jumping across the logs and she's, ducking and weaving, and I'm like, no,
Well,
lady. I'm like stepping on the logs, being so cautious. And we laughed about it. She took a picture about it, and I was like, what happened?
well, wait,
Like,
that
why am I so scared to step on this log? Why didn't I just run
well,
across?
the number 50 didn't do that.
No, but I think it's almost like a mental, like, I'm like, well, my hip is already a little hurting and my knees, so I'm like, what was it in my brain or was it really physically my body that I was scared to fall and get hurt?
It's
Or
probably a
was it,
combination of both, but
yeah,
this is a good time to mention because if you've been following Marilyn and me from the beginning, you know that there was a gentleman, excuse me, early on who she came across on a trail, an older gentleman with a cowboy hat,
yeah,
and he had such a like a positive like he probably is in his 80s, and
yeah,
he is looking at life like very youthfully. And he's,
yes,
kind of like top of the morning type of,
yeah,
mindset. Well, Marilyn bumped into him a couple of weeks ago.
yeah,
Found him. Because
yeah,
in the beginning, I was like, you got to find him and ask him what his secret is. So I think doing this podcast today about, what it feels like to turn 50 is really a conversation about successful aging and
right,
about quality of life and about taking care of your health and doing things that, keep you in the game,
yeah,
So really, so you don't fall and you don't get hurt. And so,
right,
um, anyhow, so I think that I understand that, kind of fear as you get older. But yesterday I hung out with some older people, 50s, 60s, almost 70, water skiing, slalom water skiing,
yeah,
crushing life. And so, I think it's really important to share to our listeners today, wherever you are in your life. Our platform is, PhD students,
right,
right? You can go back at any age. I went back at
yeah,
53,
right.
right? Just when you hit 50 doesn't mean it's over.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. I'm like, it
You're
doesn't,
just aging, but we
yeah,
know
we can
physical
still make
activity.
goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And physical activity helps with aging. So snap out of it tomorrow morning.
Right. Tomorrow, going to the gym, back on it, like see what else I can do. Because now, I always say
You
now
got
that
a
I
few
finished
more
my
hours. That's
degree,
it.
yeah, finish my degree. What's next? You have already started your what's next with, the neuroscience class. And I'm just like,
Oh,
all right, what are we doing? Now I know we've set our big goal for our new journey with racing. And so I've got that to look forward to, working at the university. So it is like, it is my time to set goals for the new chapter for the next 10 years. I usually like to, yes, my big goal is to get to 100, but let's do it like a few years at a time.
but I like that. Do you actually literally do goals for each?
Over each year I do. Now, I've never really set it for decades, but I just say I would call it my long-term goals. So when
Okay,
I'm
that's
talking like
interesting.
when I write goals, like I said, I was in my master's when I was setting my goal for my PhD. So to me, that was a long-term goal because it wasn't something at that point I couldn't even put a year on it because I didn't even contact the school or the university to even know how long it was going to take. I had heard it takes 6 years. I've heard it takes 10 years. I didn't know I would be able to complete it in 4. So for me, like this next long-term goal is like, what is it? And I think for me, it's focusing on my personal, social media business, but it's also personal growth, like career-wise. Like where is this the next job I have or career with the PhD is to, it will be what I retire on, right? It'll be where
Right.
I go to retire because retirement, I know, is a dollar amount, not an age. So I got a lot of catching up to do. Took this last year and a half off. So, financially, to retire, I want to retire well. So, but that's kind of where my next, you know,
Right.
focus is. Yeah.
Well, so let me ask you this. You are a very goal-oriented person. You've done a lot by the age 50.
I feel like I've done pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I admire that you're getting ready to set new goals. I think that's what being a productive, you know, member of society is all about.
Yeah.
Where do you, but I'm curious because my background is in motivation, psychology and motivation. Like, where does that drive come from
Yeah,
for
we're still
you?
trying. Yeah, we're still trying to find out. I don't know. Like my mom was always a good dreamer. Like my mom, I think is who
Okay.
taught me to dream. My mom has always been like went after anything and never was shy to try
Okay.
anything. She, opened her own little
That's a
business
good
at
role
one time.
model.
Yeah, my mom was definitely, and my grandmother and my great grandmother, but my grandmother was a very hard worker, very, very hard. She started from nothing, got divorced very young. She was, I was young when she got divorced from my grandfather. And she came from nothing, started with nothing, and grew a very lucrative catering company.
Okay.
And we all worked it as children. All of us kids had, had to work in the catering company where most kids were off spending their summers with, going on vacations. Like I ever never even knew what Ron John Surf Shop was, but everybody would come back with these t-shirts. I'm like, what is it? Well, now I know it's all over Florida. But so we were working every summer because people get married in the summertime. So I think my work ethic and my drive definitely comes from my grandma Ada, and I talk about her all the time. She passed a few years ago, but her drive to always remain like not that she wanted to be successful. She was known as the caterer to the stars because she catered the Marion Fair where all the up and coming stars. So I got to meet during my time like uh, Tim McGraw, Little Texas. Like I got to meet them, and so that her persistence in making something of herself has
You have
always
very
been
strong role. You have very strong, uh,
very.
female role models.
Yes, I say I always come from a long line of very strong, independent women
Yeah.
because they were
So,
all, yeah.
so when you
And
think about their lives and I don't know if it's interesting when I think about, okay, what were my parents like at age 50? I'm not really sure because I was so busy, in my life.
yeah.
I was not in an age where I was really thinking about it. I think they were just working hard. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, just productive or I don't know. What do you think your mom and grandmother were like at 50? And
I
how do
know.
you think do you think it's changed for us?
I do. Like they were hard workers, and my grandmother owned her own business.
Hmm.
My mom worked with her hand in hand. My aunt helped run it. And so, but for me, it was education. Now, I will say that education in my family wasn't a huge deal.
Okay.
Like they were all self, you know, um, entrepreneurs. So,
Right.
that's too probably why I did my personal training business for a very long time. But as far as education, I'm like, well, I want to go far. Now, I will say my stepdad, my aunt, her daughter got her PhD in theology. And I was like, but I was like, that's not in our family. That's not our family. This is our family. And I've went the farthest.
So are you the one? Are you the one that's gone
Yeah,
the
I'm the one that
furthest?
went. Right. My sister had a bachelor's. I think my older brother has a bachelor's. My younger brother doesn't, but he has all these certifications. He's like very well known for his master certifications in mold remediation, mitigation. Like there's only 5 people in the whole United States that has like what he has. So so we always go back and forth like, education, certification, whatever. But to me, that's still education, right?
No, but that's a
So,
huge accomplishment that you got your doctorate and you got up
yes,
to 50 and you
yeah,
pushed yourself. And
yeah,
I think to frame it within kind of the health and human performance perspective and our platform in terms of helping people achieve their goals and whatnot. I think that you have, and maybe this is why 50 meant a lot to you. I think you have a tremendous growth mindset. I
yeah,
think you have a tremendous uh, intrinsic motivation.
yeah.
And I think, and I don't know, I haven't done any research on it, but I think that's why the number, I don't know why, because it didn't mean that much to me. I was taking care of my father at the time. He had Alzheimer's disease. And so my priorities on that day, at that moment, were really attending to
Right.
his needs. So um maybe 60 will do something big. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm wondering if people who push themselves to accomplish big things in their lives and go after goals and have education and are physically active and you know there's so we've talked about that.
Yeah,
Something
we're trying to find.
academics and physical activity. People who push themselves athletically also, having these academic credentials.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just talking. I have no idea what I'm saying
It's
today.
it's
I'm just
something in the
I'm
no, I get it.
hypothesizing that
I
it's
know where your mind is
like
going.
the
It's
number is important
and
because
drive.
of drive.
I'm
Thank,
very
thank you.
driven. I'm
Thank
very
you.
driven. And why? Now that
Driven.
part, right. I don't know. I love accomplishing goals, and that's why I'm a big goal setter because I'm like,
Okay.
because when you achieve something, right? It's just like when we talk about it all the time. Like when you achieve something, it makes you feel better and more, and it
Okay.
motivates you to do it again, right?
Okay.
You're like, okay, I accomplished that goal. Now let me do it again. Now I'm not saying I've had a lot of
Can I
failures.
say one thing? Time out.
Yeah, absolutely.
That doesn't have to change at 50 plus one day.
No, no,
Not
definitely
at
not.
all.
Not at all. And I
It can
think
actually
that,
get better. I've interviewed people in their
right.
70s and 80s, and they
Yeah,
have such a positive mentality about life and embracing aging with grace. And there's really
yeah,
no, I mean, there are things you have to do to take care of your body when you age.
right.
Because we know as we get older, our muscles get stiffer.
Oh,
We
yeah.
do get a little slower, but we can do things like stretching and yoga
Yes,
and Pilates and swimming. We can do all these things to help our bodies stay younger so we can continue to do the things we love to do. You
right.
just have to adapt.
Yes, right. We are ever adapting. And I have a friend, another coworker from my old job as well, and he said, "Congratulations, I'm 50. You're doing so great." And I'm like, "Well, I said, it's you." I said, "You," because he was saying something. He was taking it from a guy who's in his 60s. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Look at you." I says, "You're inspiring me because you're in your 60s and he's rocking it like he's a machine. He's the one that's getting ready. I think he's going to do the half Ironman in Augusta." And I'm just like, I'm looking at you. And he goes, and he's like, nah, he goes, I get it from you. So we're like motivating each other, but
Yeah.
I'm like, but he's older and he is still doing it. I honestly, a machine because we're friends on the watch and I watch his workouts and I'm like, geez,
I have
Brian, slow
I
down."
have a great example about that actually. And I'm
Yeah.
just
Well, you've
noticing.
interviewed so many
Yeah, and I
people
just noticed
like that.
there's a picture in my background that's crooked, and that's how kind of OCD I am. Whoever's watching this today, I noticed it. I will fix it later.
Ah, that's funny.
Okay.
I see it now, but
Like I've noticed it too. Okay. In my interviews with my research, I interviewed a lady, I think she's in her 60s, and she was talking about how when she was training at the pool, how the younger athletes were inspired by her and how she enjoyed training with younger people because they inspired her. So I think that's a really important perspective to keep in mind that
yes,
whatever age you are, there's no reason you can't be out there playing
doing
with
it.
other people who, like
Right,
running, swimming, whatever, taking art lessons, whatever you enjoy doing. You don't have to just be in one age group. You can,
right.
you're learning from each other, younger people learning from
Yes.
older people, and vice versa. And it's just, I think that's a healthy mindset about aging.
I say it all the time. I say success. has no age limit. Fitness has no age limit. I've been passed by people way older than me, and I've been passed by people younger than me. And I think we all are inspiring to each other.
Yes.
And it's funny because I had an old professor back in the day. I was getting my associates. It was at Georgia Military College. And she was an older woman, but we were talking one day about mirrors or something, like having a mirror. She's like, I don't have any mirrors in my house. She goes, so I see you guys. She goes, so I think that I'm your age. She goes, I think that I'm young like all
There
of
you
you
go.
because
Mindset.
I don't have a right. She goes, and that's how I live my life through you. And I think I'm in my 20s, or actually I
Right.
was 30, but in my 30s. And here she was like in her 60s. She says, I don't look in the mirror. I don't. She goes, that's because that's what I see, but that's not how I feel. And that's not who I am. I was like, I
I have a
love it.
great, I have a great story, another great story. I,
Share.
when I was in my 20s, I ran the Marine Corps Marathon.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like at mile 23, and I'm like crushing it in my mind, right? I will never forget this day. I mean, it cracks me up to this day. I'll never forget. I got a little tap on the shoulder, and a gentleman came up to me and said, "Keep up the good work." Passed me and must have been like in his 70s.
Right, you
Never
never
forget
know.
it. Keep up the good work.
I love it. And he pats you on the back.
But that's where I feel like, when I reached out to you today about this topic and my friend who suggested it yesterday, I'm trying to think, what can we really what is the meaning? What is the value in this episode
Yeah,
today? And the value in it is understanding there's no age limit on enjoying your life, on
right.
taking actions to take care of your body, on doing things to have longevity in things that you enjoy to do, managing stress,
Yes.
and enjoying, like you just had this beautiful weekend with your family
So
and so
lovely.
much love and thoughtfulness. And, those are just the moments, you know? So yeah, I don't
And
know.
it's
What do
not
you,
over yet.
and it's not
No,
over
right?
yet. No.
Not over
Actually,
yet.
you have a few more hours on your
Yeah, I have a
birthday.
few more hours. And not to mention, I'm one of those people, crazy people. I like to celebrate all month long. So it's not over until the end of the month. But so I just, every weekend I do something else. So the last weekend, which was the first weekend of the month, I went on the hike and we did the big journey thing. And then this past weekend, all the family and friends. Not sure what's in store for the following weekends,
Well,
but
that's inspiring, Marilyn, and we'll have to talk one day because I'm the type of person I I don't I don't know. I would like to
yeah.
be more like you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I
Sometimes
get
I'm a
overwhelmed
little,
by it
little
all,
hard to handle.
No, it's
I
awesome.
just, I want to keep living life to the fullest. And I know, like,
There you
I always said
go.
when I was around, I don't know, maybe I was doing Primerica at the time or something, but everybody, we're always talking about you want to rub shoulders with
Wait, what
those
is
you want to
that?
be
What
like.
is what is
Primerica was insurance and investing.
okay.
And I did it like part-time and I was pretty good at it when I did it. But I remember going to like the leadership meetings and meeting all these million-dollar earners. And they're like, you want to rub shoulders with those who you aspire to be like. And I was like, okay. Well, when I started working with the seniors, they're all wealthy. They're all educated, wealthy. A lot of them are athletes in their prime. Some of them are still doing some athletic events. And I had shared that one time, and I remember one of my like senior management was like, I'm gonna steal that because that's really good. And I'm like, yeah, because I want to be like, don't you want to get to a point where you're so financially well off that you can live in these, expensive facilities where they feed
You
you
and I are
and
very much, I mean, we're a lot alike. We're very opposite too, because I would like to live, and I mean it, in a treehouse.
now I do always say I could live in a yurt. I would love to live in a yurt,
And not wear shoes. Barefooted.
right, go
But
camping, like camping.
no,
Yes.
but you make a really, really great point, because I remember like just playing tennis years ago, and like the old expression, you can only get better if you play with people who are better than you.
Right.
Right? It's the same thing I think you're saying about, being around people who have
Yeah.
accomplished, big goals in their lives. And it is inspiring. It's
It is like
inspiring. And it helps gives you energy and passion and purpose to then go out and help. help other
To
people
help others, right? 'Cause
who are,
the old saying, you
struggling.
can't soar with the eagles if you're down pecking with the chickens. And, so I just remember that, like, surround yourself with those you want to be like, or, you're only as good as your circle of friends too,
Yeah,
so be careful of who your social circle is. You want people who keep driving you and pushing
yeah,
you.
positive energy, you know.
Right, because I think
Um,
that makes a huge difference and it keeps you wanting, not necessarily wanting more. Like I don't want to get on here and seem like I'm just like I want to, this money hungry person.
no,
No.
you're driven.
Yeah, I'm just driven and they always, my friend used to say money doesn't buy happiness, but it buys options.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you're driven,
yeah.
and I have this little theory now about why 50, meant something because you set these goals and you for yourself. And now it's like, okay, now what? Now what's next?
Yeah. Now, well, yeah. And
Yeah, but
that's
take some time with it because it'll come to you.
I am. I'm like, I don't have to figure that out tomorrow. It'll come to me naturally. I'm going to be
Yeah.
patient and let this next vision come naturally as to what, my next steps in life are supposed to be. And
There's a
I think
great book by David Brooks. I think it's by David
oh,
Brooks. It's like something about the second mountain. I read it a
oh,
long time ago, so I apologize if I'm not saying it correctly. If you just put in like a search, the climbing the
second.
second mountain or something like that, you'll find it. And basically what it says, and maybe 50 can be this number, or maybe at least 60, because you're
Mhm.
still working towards accumulation of wealth to kind of enjoy retirement, or I
Right.
like to say refiring. But it's like this first mountain we climb. It's all about achievement, goal orientation, climbing it. And if you're in the corporate world, it can be extremely fast paced and extremely competitive, and it can create a lot of, stress and all the things that we need to manage in mental health.
Right.
When you get a little bit older, you start to climb the second mountain, which is a little bit more about like, okay, what can I do for the greater cause towards community
Yeah.
and giving back and just having a little bit more meaning and purpose in terms of like, what is my role and responsibility, here on this planet. And so you change your mindset a little bit from
Right.
climbing that ladder to, okay, let me look at myself in relationship to the world
Right.
and just having, and for some people they find things like charity work,
Yeah.
mission trips, they just find it in a different way. So
Yeah.
it's a really great book
Yeah. I'll
and
have to read
helps you
it.
think about kind of like our journey through aging. Um, so yeah, you're a little young. I'm getting a little closer to that second mountain.
But I think, but it proves a good point because I remember being at work and I'm like, the young employees that would come in and they're like, go, go, go and get, they're
Yeah,
after it and they're trying to climb.
mhm.
And the older one, not even like older, or just
Yeah,
how many
different.
years they've been there, right? They've been there 20 years and they're like, you know what? I'm settled. I'm good. I'm not still trying to climb that ladder. I'm
It's
trying
just
to
a
enjoy life,
it's a different
right?
philosophy. Because then you
Right.
realize we did an episode, I highly recommend it. I thought it was one of our best episodes about the gift of time. I think it's the
Yeah.
one we've gotten the most views on. And we talk about, and maybe that's the thing, like you started when we started today, you said, I'm halfway to 100.
Yeah.
And
It's
maybe
weird when you
it's
say it like that.
right. And maybe it's the gift of time when we need to, you need to understand time is not about how productive and efficient we can be within 24 hours. If we look at it as like a precious commodity,
Right.
then you realize that the time you had this weekend celebrating your birthday was just, it was
Ugh,
everything,
everything.
right? Everything.
Everything. And I was, they sang me happy birthday and I did the cake, but I paused for a moment and I wanted to let everybody else know. So they're like, speech. And I'm like, I said, you guys don't even know how meaningful it was
Yeah.
I had to thank Robin for like putting it all together.
Yeah.
But for my mom and my aunt to take time off to come, like my aunt's
Travel and
tired, my mom still works. It's kind of hard for them to, to get all together and get this done. And for my son, he left his job that was several hours away, rush home, get on a plane up at 3 in the morning to get here. But he's like, Mom, I wouldn't miss it. And my daughter, poor thing, had to like hold it all in. She was the secret. the secret keeper. And then all my friends, I had ran into several of these friends over the week, and they were all so good at keeping it in. And I wanted to let them all know how appreciative. This morning, I'm messaging everybody. Because I opened my
I was
gifts
just
last
going to
night.
ask you that. That's like in my mind. I'm thinking, how do you show gratitude for that much love and,
Right? I mean,
effort?
I made a
But
post about it, but to me, it was like, that's not like, so I wanted to make sure I let them all know who was there, how thankful I was.
I
I,
think it's that old that expression like when people give
yeah,
and from their heart, like you give because you want to give. You
yes,
don't give necessarily. I mean, obviously, you want everybody to know how grateful you are and thanking
right.
them. And, I know you, I know you wouldn't miss, anything in that. But I think and I think it's a reflection of you, of what you've given to your family and your friends over the
Yeah.
years. So it really is a reflection of you,
And that
honestly.
I'm so thankful you said that because sometimes I'm like, am I the person that I've
Yes.
always tried to be? Because my mom and I were talking about it this morning, and I said, Mom, I said, I really try to leave people better than when I met them,
Yeah.
or I try to leave a good lasting impression on people. And like for me to still be friend, I left my job because I was searching for, a
Mhm.
greater, the next step. But I left on good terms and I loved the people that I worked with. And, I always tell them that. And I'm like, my mom's like, yeah, never burn bridges. I'm like, no, never. I said, they're great people. I said, but I just wanted growth, And
Growth
so,
mindset.
yeah. And
You have
so
a growth mindset.
I, I was like, I just wanted, just seeing all them last night coming to support me and my birthday and all the wonderful cards and a lot of they wrote the statements and some we were texting this morning and they're like we're better people because you're here you're in our circle
Right.
we're friends with you and I was like oh my gosh very tearful moments and very it did make me feel like okay I am doing my heart's desire I am the loving person that I really say that I am. Because sometimes I'm like, am I selfish? Because, I do like to do a lot of stuff, you
No,
know.
I think that I think
Uh,
you keep going back to, being self-motivated to achieve goals.
yeah.
And I think that's why 50 was so meaningful to you because now you're starting like a new chapter.
Oh, it's
And
exciting.
and I know you saw the post that I made about, when I met you, just about impacting other people's lives. I'll tell you how Marilyn and I met. Obviously, we met in our doctoral programs, but I met her towards the end, kind of like really towards the end, like
Yeah.
running research, like you're wrapping up in chapter 5, approaching final defense, well, and literally completing. And I was like in the midst of running my study. And that's kind of when our paths crossed because we weren't
Yeah.
really, I don't know if I remember being in classes or not together.
Yeah, I think we had classes. Yeah, I do
Maybe,
remember that
but
seeing your name. Yep, in discussions.
yeah, but there's a lot of people on those discussion boards. You don't necessarily interact with
Right.
everybody. And
Right.
so we have the same dissertation chair, Dr. Kathleen Fritsch, we're both blessed to have her. She's an
Yes.
amazing human being. And we just reached out to each other. And then Marilyn finished first. So I equated it to running a marathon. Marilyn crossed the finish line first. Marilyn could have just gone on to the after party, had her bananas and bagels and oranges and beer, whatever you do
Yeah.
after a marathon. And I was still out there. I was still out there. And you extended a hand back to me
Yes.
and gave me and other wonderful friends in my life who did that for me. I'm incredibly
Yeah.
grateful. And helped me cross that finish line.
Because
And
it feels better to
so
celebrate with more people.
yes.
Of course I have
And
to.
so I just think that's your personality. I think you go through life reaching your hand out to other people. And
Yeah.
so I'm so happy for you for your birthday.
Thank you. It's
Um,
been Yeah, it's been a the last few days have just been
yeah.
utterly, it literally wore me out. I just, had to take a little cat nap here a second ago because I was so
Well,
exhausted. It was such a,
well, now that you're 50, you need to nap more
yeah,
because
I needed naps.
I'm 58 and I can tell you you get a little bit more tired.
Yeah.
Um, no, it's just I'm trying to think like when I with this idea of this podcast today, like what can we from our experiences and knowledge in being doctoral students, and now, having our PhDs and when I say that, there's a lot of research, just so people understand. It's not like we just wrote, did assignments
Right.
and got our doctors. We had to do a
Right.
lot and a lot of research along
Yeah.
the way. We had to read a lot of research. We had to read a lot of books. We had to
Critique. We had to
critique.
critique
We
a
said it
lot
at
of
the same
reading.
time.
Man.
We said that
I,
at the same time. We had to critique a lot of research. We didn't just read it. We had to
right.
like critique it,
Because
a
you can't
lot
just
of
pick
them.
any old top, something
Yeah.
and think that it's great. And
Yeah.
come to find out that there's a lot of research
Yes.
out there that is not good,
No.
not might not be
Yeah.
quite right. So that was interesting to me.
So
So yeah, a lot of
yeah,
research.
we had to critique a lot, and it all kind of was within this framework of health and human performance. And I
Mhm.
think that this conversation today is important because in aging, right, we know older people suffer from some isolation.
Yeah.
Mental health can suffer, physical health. We have something called ageism in our society that
Oh yeah.
tells older people as you get older, it becomes decline, it becomes
Right.
age-related diseases. And Marilyn and and you made such a great point. Align yourself with people in your life that see it the way you see it, right?
Yes.
Positive people, active people, people who
Yeah.
are vibrant, enjoying life.
Yes.
It's infectious, you
Right.
know? And so I think that's the message today, and I'm going to let you kind of wrap it up.
Good
I
one.
think the message is it's a um, the health and health promotion message in turning 50 is enjoy your life. You got one
Yeah.
shot at it and
Yeah.
do all the things to keep your body healthy and your
Yeah.
mind healthy and take care of it. You,
Yeah,
you
age
know?
is just a
So,
number. It's
yeah.
what we do with it, right? It's
Yeah.
what we're doing in this age. And I am not going to go down without a fight.
There
I
you go.
am going to age boldly, is what I like to say. I'm going to age, thrive and as opposed to survive, and but definitely age boldly, I think. And I just, yeah, I don't want to just pull up a rocking chair and be like, okay, well, here we go.
You
I,
said that in a very early episode. I remember you saying that.
yeah,
And it's a strong, I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with that either. And knitting,
right.
all these things are, some sedentary
Right.
activities. You need a balance. You can't be going all
Right.
the
I
time.
can't. You're
Body's
right.
gonna fall
Right.
apart.
Believe me, I'm gonna take my naps.
Right. It's a
But
balance. Everything's a balance. I'm in neuroscience. I'm going into my third week.
all right. That's going
Okay.
by fast already, huh?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for an older brain, but it's doable, right?
Right.
What I want to say to our listeners is that not only is physical activity, I mean, look at Marilyn. Marilyn exercises every single day. You look
Ooh.
incredible. You take great
Oh,
care
thanks.
of
Well,
yourself. You look amazing for 50. I'm just joking.
yes.
I had to
Uh,
do that.
you as
No,
well.
but we know from neuroscience and from exercise physiology that physical activity has so many wonderful positive,
Yeah.
um, I can't think of the word, benefits
Yeah, it's the key. It is
for
the
aging.
key
And
driver
mhm.
of
And
aging.
we could do a podcast on it if people are interested in learning about it from a research,
Yeah.
scientific perspective. Um, but just look at Marilyn on her
Yeah.
50th birthday.
Glowing.
So,
It's
all right, well,
been
I
wonderful.
yeah, I hope that this, when we launch this episode, I hope there's some value in it. I just
Yes.
wanted to have some fun with it and celebrate your birthday today. Has anybody
Thank you. I
sung you happy
appreciate that.
birthday?
What's up?
Has anybody sang you happy birthday?
Oh yes, I have been
Okay.
serenaded at the Mexican
Okay.
restaurant with the
Good.
mariachi band. My family and friends did last night. My
Good. Then I
daughter,
don't have to sing.
yeah,
Okay.
no, I won't make you sing.
Don't make me sing.
So,
Okay, so next week, we're actually recording on Sunday, which is today, which is what is September 7th.
yeah,
We're
my
actually
actual
recording on
birthday.
Marilyn's birthday. We decided to do that. Excuse me. This episode will launch tomorrow if we get our act together, but
Sometime.
there's no
Yep,
rush because it's your birthday.
that's fine.
And to anybody else out there who's listening, who has a 50th birthday approaching,
Yeah,
maybe over the end of this year, early next year, listen. go crush your life, go do the
Yes.
things you love to do. Go be you. Go
Yes.
just go after your dreams and your goals and never give up.
Never give up. That's good.
Okay?
Yay.
Happy birthday, my friend. I'm so grateful.
Thank
It
you.
makes me teary-eyed. I'm so grateful that you decided
Ah,
to jump on this journey with me with our podcast.
yes.
I look forward to celebrating your 60th.
Yes. Yes.
We better have a
We're gonna
sponsor
celebrate
by
yours
then.
first.
Well, yeah, mine's first. Here I said, we better have a sponsor by
Yes. Yes. We'd like a sponsor for our birthday present. That would be
anybody
really
listening. We would love your.
nice.
Well, I was drinking my bubbly, so I don't know. Maybe that's too
Oh, I don't know. I'm
ambitious.
drinking Fresca. I'm really
There you
aging myself.
All right,
Oh,
everybody. We'll see you next week. We'll get
all
back on
right.
track in terms of talking
Bye,
about.
everybody.
I think we have a guest next week, actually, but we'll
Oh,
we'll
okay.
we'll get back to the PhD journey specifically next week, and we hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yes,
Thank you again.
absolutely. Bye, everybody. Thank you for
Bye.
celebrating.
Yeah. Bye.